comes a moment in every life when the path forks, not in the world outside, but within. A quiet unraveling begins, where all the roles we've played, the masks we've worn, the stories we've told ourselves start to crack. Beneath them lies something older, stranger, and more alive than the persona the world knows. This is not destruction, but the first pulse of true becoming. Most spend their lives asleep inside their own skin, mistaking the costume for the soul. They chase the approval of others, build their identities on borrowed dreams, and wonder why fulfillment remains just out of reach. But for those who dare to look deeper, who are willing to descend into the uncharted depths of their own being, an astonishing truth awaits. We are not who we think we are, and the moment we confront this, life begins in earnest. From childhood, we are taught to perform, to be good students, dutiful children, productive workers, to fit neatly into the role society carves for us. These masks serve a purpose. They help us navigate the world without friction. But wear one too long, and something terrible happens. We forget our own face beneath it. The persona, that polished, socially acceptable version of ourselves, is necessary, but it is not the whole truth. It is the surface, the facade. And when we confuse it for the totality of who we are, we pay a steep price. A quiet emptiness grows, a sense of living someone else's life. The achievements feel hollow. The relationships lack depth. The days blur together in a performance that never quite satisfies. This is the first whisper of awakening, the dull ache of something essential being ignored. Beneath the persona lies everything we've been taught to disown. Our rage, our desires, our vulnerabilities, our wildness. All the parts deemed unacceptable, improper, or dangerous. We lock them away in the dark, ashamed. But the shadow does not disappear. It waits. It surfaces in unexpected ways. In the bitterness of a sudden outburst, in the irrational envy of another's success, in the dreams that leave us unsettled upon waking. The more we deny it, the stronger it grows, pulling our strings from the depths. We call these moments weaknesses, failures of character. In truth, they are the shadow knocking at the door, demanding to be seen. Integration begins not by conquering these hidden aspects, but by facing them with ruthless honesty. What we call our demons are often just disowned parts of ourselves, starving for acknowledgement. The man who prides himself on kindness must confront his capacity for cruelty. The woman who wears independence like armor must face her longing for connection. Until we do, we remain at war with ourselves, half alive. There are patterns in us older than memory, stories written in a language we've forgotten. They move through our lives like underground rivers, shaping our choices, our attractions, our fears. The lover who destroys us, the ambition that consumes us, the recurring dream we can't explain. These are not accidents. They are echoes of something ancient, something collective. This is the realm of symbols, of myths that live in our bones. The hero's journey, the wise old man, the eternal mother. They are not just tales. They live in us, shaping how we see the world. When we stumble into a moment of déjà vu, when a story moves us inexplicably, when we meet a stranger and feel an instant recognition, we brush against these currents. To know oneself is to learn this hidden language, to trace these patterns back to their source. The one who does not understand them is doomed to repeat them, unaware. Within every man lies a feminine presence, within every woman a masculine spirit, not as biology dictates, but as psyche knows. This inner counterpart is the bridge to what we've excluded from ourselves. The tough-minded man who dismisses poetry as frivolous is cut off from his own depth. The nurturing woman who never asserts her needs has lost touch with her own fire. Meeting this other is not about gender, but wholeness. It is the artist discovering discipline, the thinker embracing intuition, the skeptic learning faith. Until we make peace with this inner stranger, we are only half awake, seeing the world with one eye closed. There comes a time when the old identity must crumble. the career that defined us, the relationship that anchored us, the belief that guided us, something shifts, and suddenly, the container is too small for what we've become. This is not failure, but the necessary death of what no longer fits. It feels like drowning. The familiar landmarks vanish. The old motivations lose their power. We wander in the between place, no longer who we were, not yet who we will be. This is the dark night of the soul, where all seems lost. But in that darkness, something stirs. Stripped of pretenses, with nothing left to perform, we finally hear the voice we've been drowning out our whole lives. It is quiet, but unmistakable. It has been there all along. When the waking world grows too narrow, the soul speaks in symbols. Dreams are not random noise. They are letters from the unconscious, written in a language of images and emotions. The house with endless rooms, the chase without resolution, the forgotten child, the impossible task. These are not nonsense. They are maps to territories within us we've avoided. To ignore them is to ignore half our life. The one who takes the time to listen, to sit with these strange messengers, begins a dialogue with the deepest parts of themselves. Over time, the symbols shift. The monsters become guides. The labyrinths reveal their centers. What seemed like chaos shows its order. Wholeness is not found, but forged. It requires descending, again and again, into the parts of ourselves we'd rather avoid. The grief we've buried, the talents we've neglected, the truths we've been too afraid to speak. This is the raw material of transformation. There is no shortcut. No affirmation, no superficial change of habits can replace the slow, often painful work of facing what we've spent a lifetime running from. It is a labor that never truly ends, only deepens. But with each layer uncovered, something extraordinary happens. The masks become transparent. We wear them when needed, but no longer mistake them for our face. The shadow, once a source of shame, becomes a well of creativity and strength. The old wounds, when finally felt, stop dictating our lives. Most people die at 25 and are buried at 80. They stop growing, stop questioning, and spend their remaining years as echoes of who they might have been. But for those who dare the descent, life keeps its promise of expansion. The colors grow richer, the connections deeper, the purpose clearer, not because the world changes, but because the eyes seeing it have been washed clean of illusion. This is the Great Awakening, realizing we were never meant to live as fragments, that every ignored impulse, every denied desire, every suppressed grief was a thread in the tapestry of our wholeness. To reclaim them is not indulgence, but homecoming. The journey has no final destination, only ever-deepening layers of understanding. But one day, we look in the mirror and recognize, perhaps for the first time, the face staring back. Not the mask, not the shadow, but the self that was there all along, waiting for us to be still enough, brave enough to see it. And that is when life truly begins.